The reason I'm going to share with you the following story is because I'm really curious to know whether or not there are other people like the person I'm going to describe. So if you guys know anyone in your life that behaves like this, or if you are a person that behaves like this, please let me know, because I'm genuinely curious to know whether or not this is a widespread thing or not. Personality trait or just a rare event. So there was this girl who grew up in a very small town. And she liked listening to goth. She dressed like goth. And she also had red colored hair. And because of this, the school principal and the other teachers would really freak out on her. Because in Romania, even though communism fell, there was still a lot of the ideology that was promoted by the Romanian Communist Party. And part of that ideology was that students had to wear uniform, their hair had to be at a specific length. Under no circumstance were you allowed to color your hair. Under no circumstance were you allowed to listen to rock and roll or foreign music. And the teachers who grew up in the golden age, like we called it, still had this indoctrination in mind, and they would lash out at any student that disobeyed, that would wear different clothing or that would have their hair differently. And this girl did her best in order to stand out. And she was very upset that every time she went to school, she would get in trouble with a teacher and she would cry a lot and she would be really depressed because it wasn't just the teachers bullying her, but it was also the students. They would call her a Satanist. They would call her parents at school and get her into trouble. So she was very unhappy with her life, especially when going to school. Now, eventually, she graduates and she goes towards the capital, towards Bucharest, in order to study at the university. And when she goes to Bucharest, she notices that no one cares about her hair color anymore. No one cares about her taste in music. And no one cares about the way she dresses. And I thought that that would be a good thing. I thought that finally she would be happy. But instead, she gets really angry. She's upset that people aren't picking on her. So she starts changing her hair color into various other things, just like trying to grab attention. She starts wearing different clothing. She goes through different fashions. Like she tries going super rock. That doesn't work. She starts going skimpily clad. That doesn't work. Like she just goes through all the outfits possible, using the most outrageous hair dyes and the most outrageous costumes. And she was really angry because no one was noticing her. She was just randomly walking through the street. No one was turning their head. No one thought that it's weird. Like she wouldn't get any stink eye from anyone. And she was really, really angry about it. Like when I talked with her, she actually told me that she's upset because no one is noticing or talking about her hair. And I'm thinking about it, and it's like, I realized that there is a story in Marvel Comics that's literally like that. And the story is with Ironheart, who was the replacement for Iron Man. And her origins is that while she was at school, she expected the teacher to be racist and sexist towards her. So she expected the teacher to tell her that she's not good enough, like she's not going to be able to make it in life. Because I guess the expectation was that the teacher was supposed to be racist and a misogynist, so of course you would have low expectations of her. But no, the teacher actually says, no, you can be anything you want. And this actually upsets her. Like this infuriates her and is like, no, tell me something that I can't be. So the teacher then says, okay, you can't be Tony Stark, you can't be Iron Man. And she then dedicates her life in order to replace Iron Man, in order to become the new Tony Stark by stealing a suit from her university and then dressing up as Iron Man. But that's the origin story of Ironheart, a Marvel superhero, right? And it's very similar to what I just talked about my friend. I mean, she expected bigotry. Like, she expected people to keep harassing her. But she was very upset when people didn't harass her, just like the Marvel superhero expected sexism and racism from the teacher and was distraught when they didn't get that. And it's very interesting because it's not like they enjoy the oppression. Right? My friend didn't enjoy when the teachers were picking up on her hair and her choice of attire. No, like they actually made her cry, and she actually suffered. Like I know that she was very upset about what's happening at high school. So you would expect that when finally that stops, they would be happy, but no, they were even more upset. And it's so weird. So I'm wondering, like, is this a character trait? Are there many people like this? People who like being the victim, I guess. And I tried really hard to answer the question, why is that? Like, what type of person wants to be abused and oppressed? And I think the only logical conclusion that I can come up with is that they like the attention. So even if it's negative attention, it's still attention. I mean, she was the talk of the teachers. Everyone in school knew who she was. Like, she's the Satanist girl. Like, everyone talked about her, even if it was in a negative light. The fact that everyone knew who she was, the fact that everyone turned their head, I guess that was the attention. She was getting special treatment. And when she went to the Capitol, she would have probably been happy if everyone would have turned their head and be like, oh my God, your hair color is so beautiful. Oh, wow, like the way you dress. What type of music do you listen to? Oh, that is great. I think if she would have got that, she would have been more happy. Like, she would have been genuinely happy. But what she got was just people not caring. It was almost as if she was just another person. So going from everyone talking about her in a negative light to no one even noticing her being invisible, I think that's the reason they got upset. Because, like, no one cares. And it's probably the same with the story from Marvel with Ironheart. The problem is that no one would care. So you don't really have your origin story if someone doesn't have the bigotry of low expectation for you to surpass them. So I suppose, like, that is a problem that the Marvel writers and my friend had. And I'm legitimately curious, like, if there's other people like this who prefer the negative attention rather than no attention at all, even though the negative attention legitimately hurts them, and they are oppressed. I mean, it's legitimate oppression. Like, you go to school and everyone picks on you, just for a nonsensical reason. I mean, sure, you can change the color of your hair, obviously, but why should you, right? I mean, we're talking about oppression as in getting bullied physically. So, you know, people tugging your hair, people pushing you in the locker, like that type of thing. Like legit bullying, not mean words or mean looks. Like, no, physical. And teachers giving you bad grades, even though you studied. So you're being treated unfairly. Like, you know the math class, but the teacher gives you an F anyway to teach you a lesson. To make sure that you're going to do what the teacher wants, that they're going to bend you to their will. So that type of thing. You know, no one likes that, you would think. But apparently they would prefer that over being treated the same like everyone else. So to me, it's really bizarre. And this is why I'm asking you guys, like, is this something that you noticed in real life? Are there other people that are like this? Were you like this? I mean, it's probably someone in the chat, maybe it happened to you. Like, maybe when you were in school, you were bullied for something, and then you realize that when you move to a different school or when you move to a different city, no one would bully you, and you kind of felt a little bit angry. It's like, oh, why is no one giving me attention? Like, it was better before. I'm really curious, like, how does that feel, really? Let me know what you guys think, because I'm really curious, and I'll see you in the comment section. Take care.